Hey, what's going on social media? I'm Steve Ludwig, the insurance man. Today I wanted to talk to you about marijuana and DUIs. So you might have seen over the past couple of years the emergence of the driving under the influence, specifically with marijuana. Well, why is that? It's because in the past couple of years, you're starting to see more recreational usage, you're starting to see more medical usage, and ultimately people are driving, and actually more so than driving under the influence, because it's a common misinterpretation. If you take your medicine every day, aka your marijuana every day, okay, well, you should be able to drive, right? Well, there's obviously some kind of disclaimer on there that says it may impair your driving, right? But to what degree? If you're, basically blown out, and you're out there driving, I mean, obviously you're a hazard to the road. If an officer would pull you over and smell that there's some sort of marijuana, see that you're acting weird, that your eyes are bloodshot, whatever the case might be, and they feel that there is a suspicion that you're driving under some kind of influence, they reserve the right to call out a DRE, which is a drug recognition expert. Now, I know that many of you are probably thinking, well, they're going to probably call Dr. Dre out there, and ironically enough, right? That's not the case. A drug recognition expert is going to come out there, potentially give you a field sobriety test in relation to that driving under that influence of whatever the drug is that you might be under, and then ultimately they're going to throw you in the back of a cop car. They're going to escort you down to the station, and then they're going to ask you at that particular time to submit to a chemical test. Now, the funny thing is with the chemical test is that the results can't be instantly determined. It takes time going to a lab. It takes time to be able to get these results. And as a result of that, it's a lot of people, they refuse it, and rightfully so. And, it's obviously blowing into a device is a lot different than somebody sticking a needle into your arm and taking blood from you. So the other thing here is they're testing for THC in general, okay? So THC Delta 9 is the chemical strand that's in marijuana that gets you high. There's lots of different types of THC and mainly a lot for the medical purposes, okay? So there's THCV, THCA, THC Delta 8. There's tons of different types of THC. These tests are more in the infancy stages, and they're not really designed to be able to test for anything other than THC. They're just looking for THC that's in your blood. So you're at a disadvantage by getting that type of test. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there's really no way to determine what is a legal amount of THC, because everybody metabolizes it differently. So it's not really like a one size fits all. So you've got these, you go to court, and I feel like it's a very defendable case at that point. But mark my words with this, especially with the pandemic. This is a business, for citing people for driving under the influence for these states and municipalities, these cities. This is funding that's coming into the city that is right now, it's really lacking. So as you're starting to see more of, getting into payment scenarios, as you're starting to see things become more stressful from lack of funding, you're going to see a lot more of this kind of stuff that's popping up. And, again, you have all your rights and everything else, and that's determined by a lawyer that is going to go through and defend your case. Ultimately, the court has to convict you of it. And then if you have to get an SR-22, that's kind of like where we come into play with this. So you've got to remember that, the SR-22 comes at a later point. So you might not need us until 30, 60 days out, and then obviously there has to be, again, some kind of conviction, or there has to be an admission of guilt there. So you might not even need an SR-22, just depending on the scenario, the situation. That's where this becomes very, very important to know the state's laws, the restrictions, making sure that we know how to file the correct packets, the waivers, whatever that we need to be able to do, and we're licensed in multiple different states. So that becomes extremely important, because more than not, you have some states that are cool with the marijuana deal. Okay, they have where they're cool with medical uses, recreational uses, and then you also have to where some states are not cool with it. So you want to have a broker like a Select Insurance Group that is going to be able to make sure that you have the adequate coverage in the correct state that that you reside in or that you got in trouble in. For more tips and tricks just like these, please visit selectsr22insurance.com or call one of our licensed agents at 855-GET-SELECT. That's 855-438-7353. We look forward to serving you soon.